I always think of it as you're your own CEO, right? You're your own business owner as your brand, which means that you have to be very mindful of it. You have to be protective of it as well. And I just love it. This is a group that they've grown up in this culture of understanding a brand.
Talk about all of the different ways that your brand impacts you and how it really is your reputation.
Reputation is everything, and for me, it has been the catapult in my career. I was an athlete growing up, as many of these young athletes probably. I was the star in my local community, local high school. When I got to college, I had to figure it out, right? I wasn't the star anymore, but I always embraced my role, and I was somebody I loved to network. Before I even really understood what network was, I loved to meet people. I was very active just in our athletics community. I went to every game. I talked to people. I joined different groups. I took leadership positions in different groups, and I just think I stayed consistent throughout and really held on to my core values, which I think is one of the most important things that athletes, people in general can do with their personal brand. We had an opportunity to play in a national championship game, and I had a good game, and it was very important on that first game that I had a good interview. I was outgoing, I was engaging, and I think they still tried to bring me on and interview me afterwards, but that helped. It was that moment that really put me in as a professional athlete. If you go back and Google my stats, they're not great. But it was more of my brand and what I did in championship moments that I think helped me on the field, and then definitely off the field throughout my professional career.
You bring up so many great points there, Jami, that I'd love to touch on. So one, let's just talk about the importance of networking.
I think network is everything, and it's not just about meeting people. Be memorable, right? And you get to be memorable in your own way.
Talk about how authenticity is so key and leveraging what's important to you to put out there for your brand.
I think authenticity is the most important. And to me, when I look at what a brand is, I think of the word identity, right? And at the root of identity is defining who you are and your core values. Who are you to the core? And my advice, I would think, define those non-negotiables. What are you about and what are you not about? And portray that through every platform that you use. And I think, Doug, you made a good point about, like, we aren't all great at TikTok, right? So I don't have to force the issue. I can be authentic and find my niche, and then be intentional about it and go all in on that authenticity. And that's what's so fun about branding, is it gets to be unique, and it should be all about you. So yeah, authenticity and intentionality, I think, are so important. So if you can get it to the root of who you are, what you're made up of, and then how does that differentiate you from others, I think it's a great place to start and keep sharing that message.
What has been your biggest struggle with brand, and what would you do differently?
Just being hesitant to act, and I would say go for it, right? Put yourself out there. I think it's hard sometimes for us to do that, and sometimes maybe even for females too, it's tough of like, should I be this boisterous or be out there? And I say yes, go for it. If it's authentic to you, then put yourself out there, and it's okay to promote your own brand in the right way.
When you were in college, if you had the ability to take advantage of name, image, and likeness, how would you go about it?
I think it's really important for athletes, when we start talking about your name, image, likeness, and creating revenue or a business, it's capturing your audience, right? And collecting that data, keeping that data from them. I think what I would have probably done is created probably some sort of newsletter or blog or something to follow, but making sure I had a landing page, making sure I'm getting email addresses. I'm building up a list that I could use one day and eventually sell to, no matter what I go into.
You make a great point, and I love what you said about capturing audience, right? And I think this is a really important point that I want to underscore to the audience, which is social media is critical. And I think you need to be really strategic and intentional about what you're putting out there related to your brand. And it's a rented audience. It may not always be there. And so to Jami's point, let's make it an engaged audience maybe they're visiting your website, and then let's make them a captured audience where they're going to your website to buy your t-shirt, buy your video, maybe somebody writes a book, they buy your book, right? I mean, there's so many different ways you can go with this, but I couldn't underscore enough how important it is to create that website, which is yours, you own it, and then all of the data that runs through it, you keep it, right?
Take that audience and capture that data and keep that data, because that could be super important for your long-term business. I think I told you this yesterday, Doug, but I would encourage everybody to go buy their domain, right? Go out and get it now, where it's $12 versus as soon as you're on TV, somebody's going to go buy that and then try to sell it to you. So I would buy a domain. I would create a landing page. I want to give value. If I'm capturing emails, I need to give them value. So I would probably write a blog or kind of give them a behind the scenes look. But then when you're ready to monetize, it's if I was artsy, I would create a t-shirt or something, that I could sell, or art. I'd probably write an ebook. When you said that, I was like, that's a great idea. But I think it's very important for these young athletes to go ahead and start thinking about that.
Jami Lobpries, so thrilled to have you. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys for tuning in to NIL 360 EDU.